calling it today for his team as well for the Australian Grand
Alrighty then, Formula One World Championship. Tad bleary-eyed at the thought of a this morning has resembled a lake. It has been rain different winners in the last 5. It's on the grid today and never won this race before. C3 Hard, that's a good race tyre. Of Australia. It's the time. Albert Park has hosted this with Oliver Behrman starting the late switch to a pit lane start. They changed so out qualifying Nico Hülkenberg alongside Jack Doohan, one of two, and he's 11th. Fernando Alonso years. Pierre Gasly is 9th on the Leclerc in 7th. Alex Al, best ever start. George Russell's, and it's an all McLaren front row lock from pole. Martin Brundle on.
It'll be a tough afternoon though. It's going to be such a bit of standing water down at top. The hairdryer job from Kent in that, or Frank Williams, or Sir Patrick Head, isn't it? And
the track shut up and drive. We had to wait an extra 15 minutes or so. Summation lap number 2. We want to be on the wets, even though Pirelli have brought it overheat quite so much.
We mean to use the full wet tyre because the track of the Inter.
Everyone's spray is light because it actually looked the cars. There's Yuki Tsunoda and out from him. And the spray. I mean,
you can see as we head into autumn here, they were talking all about slick.
See how it goes in 57.
For the first time properly, he's getting Ferrari power unit for the first time.
Is Isaac Hadges or is Australian Grand Prix?
Yeah, and I hope they're lit up full power. And you'd think it.
We started this hybrid era. We start the final season of these three different engines that will behave very different last year of this hybrid. Last year, around from last season, and one of them is McLaren.
I imagine several people may just be sailing in to the pit lane and take the start down there.
In the Haas. There'll be 7 into Oscar's backyard to cheer on. Ferrari debut, and the 70 go, and it's Lando Norris. Oh, Norris is ahead of Piastri. He has Alex Albon for company, trying to lead, but he survived it only just about.
Ball pointing in the right direction.
The season he went from 17th on the. Norris has got momentum. He's starting up. It's Jack Doohan, one of the ages here. Safety cars.
Yeah. And that is very bad news. Nice solid day today. He has
hit the wall and there's in the safety car waiting to confident to starts it seemed, Martin.
He was a little bit slow away, but
behind the Aston Martin.
Very similar to Hadjar. Just loosened the rear axle.
In the wall, final corner. Turn 14.
Yeah. And just
oh dear.
Massive torque surge.
He wasn't expecting it.
But we'll also have kicking in there as well. Never the conditions, but they changed the mapping. Australian V8, Aussie V8s. Then the water comes on top, and it there, isn't there?
Yeah.
Like a goat track, especially with cold in the final corner. So with 3
absolutely
just loosen the rear axle.
And Isaac Hadger and cover on the grid, other than Carlos Sainz at doing it.
Away as a driver.
Charles Leclerc backing up what you were saying and making a move up into 2nd place. And Stroll moving up, and we can actually see him. He's finding all sorts of grip.
They clearly were spinning their wheels again at McLaren. Drove clean around the outside of him.
By Charles Leclerc. I think what a getaway.
Ticking over almost. There's a statement from him for this. A bit of a gamble there because history, and why wouldn't he? But
it's in front. This is Jack Doohan.
I think it was the shift. I'd like to see. Yeah. Having an accident, he would have been so.
And this is Carlos Sainz corners, especially the final.
Yeah, he would have been tickling the throttle pedal. Speed as well. You lose tyre temperature. Sound effect cars. They run them close to the ground.
So we've got a recovery vehicle on the track. Jack Doohan's Alpine. Driver that finishes this race might take a few days.
In just a few days' time. So they've been by me. Just so I see that spike in the race. But and it looks like Nico Hülkenberg to P12. Well, Martin, that advice would get.
From the replays, looks like I almost did the same.
You know, you've got to cross the white lines. A lot of vehicles on track in this in these circumstances off the racetrack.
Formula One car is a safety car. You were the race director. You'd have thrown a rev.
Yeah, they're losing it very easily. With Lawson,
it's the 2 who are already at a brand new hot.
Yes. They've all been through the pit lane.
To be honest, still with breakdown vehicles on this road, just the other side of the racetrack. To take just quickly, but are they out of the way now?
Trophy, and so it looks like that truck is waiting from Leclerc, saying the track is hurt. Tom Stallard telling Aston Martin we could end up in the cycle here.
Let's hear the team radio. Yeah. Maybe
It's time because Science has gone on the break. Warm Inter's on.
Yeah.
But down there. And and I'm starting to get up and running because
these new Pirelli wet tyres for those Inters 2 slicks, the Piastri starts there, and he's on the inside, which is probably
really hanging on. I mean, needing a bit more purchase, a bit more grip.
There's Alex Albon to the right-hand side. Look, it comes across him. That cost Lewis.
Always going to bump the inside curb and try down the outside.
No. So I think we've got at least one lead. Then they have to sweep away the concrete.
Yeah, and as Karim was pointing, and there you're much more like that comes in. I was talking.
Safety car period is ending. We've had 6 laps and we're on get going here.
Shown his colours, and he wanted some time.
The main straight, you can't overtake him. Into turn 1, Norris survives that. Towards turn 3, and Norris thinks about a move, nothing doing there. The fastest lap, no bonus points for that.
Let's talk about the end of a race. Talk about
on that one. Far side of the track towards turn 9 and 10. The line, or was there another reason? Piat, he's not getting as detached now as he was.
Good car, and in these it'll come alive. The brakes then also feel. You just get more and more and more.
Lap in 2025, and Larry was a second back and Fernando Alonso in the top 10.
Even in the car, I think it out at the moment.
Right place, and Yuki Tsunoda, safety car period in this race so far, and we're on board down and chase our moment, not while the conditions.
These intermediate tyres will start to in the final turn. They'll soon.
The end of the last lap was 9/10 between a go. Verstappen
don't open it. It was his thought that if it's slipped.
In our thoughts every time we come to Australia sport. Lewis Hamilton, Norris, get the feeling that in 10 before his tyres.
Lovely power slide, also hard through the exit. What can you tell us, Karun, at Sky Race?
He's saying that the brake pedal itself is
involving Fernando Alonso and you. So, as I would imagine, as we got
what happened to Carlos Sainz, and I think that's probably what happened. The car broke loose.
Possibly. The gap has grown to 1 point, and he's looking in decent form. Happen has to run very wide there.
Grip. So I think the crossover point. I still think of putting slick tyres on, but
Charles Leclerc being told as well to
main tyre to cool down, front left.
They're coming down the main straight there, like the race is over. Here's interesting. Have DRS, so if you are within drag,
and it's pretty powerful around here,
you can improve your lap time by about 7/10 of Max Verstappen and Druckenbergen. He's going to be in DRS, squeezes up towards the rear wing.
Is that his tyres, Crofty, are going clear now. 134 off so quickly.
Here comes larger in the camera view. Hulkenbergen can't quite get past. Yep, with a 132 the previous lap.
Make the drivability.
Power, trying to get used to that. It's time with Verstappen and Piastri.
Decision for Red Bull than it is for Mazda. Whereas Red Bull with only
Karun Chandok to send Jenson Button.
1 lap of Class 1 rain.
Radioing his team to do just that. But if
that DRS, Crofty, but look, just let me know about where I'm losing. I think that this is all part of building. It's too much, so they're building that relationship.
It's Man Friday, as it were, at a race.
Lando, and then Lando's
got this under control.
Be a bit more rain. They've really got to.
Yes, I know.
Going for a move there, and he's been getting ever closer.
I think what Toulouse is being told there, you've got
Max Verstappen with the track ahead of him as his bonus at the
of how much grip there is.
Down the inside, keep it under control. He'll be very pleased with that.
Yeah, it's behind Lando now, but field every time the safety car came in.
Youngest driver to start growing a little bit on Alex, new fastest lap of this race. Verstappen was posing Ted Danson.
But he's got this conundrum. He's got to declare is what 7 seconds or Class 1 rain, if you want to call it.
My friend, that is where Lewis Hamilton
meter of every lap. You get the car slightly out of those, drive it every meter.
These drivers can produce the accuracy.
Did in free practice and stuck his undone there, but he lives for
Antonelli down at 13th and try Alonso not really caring about that for the moment.
Right. Screen now.
And these are the sort of form we've seen in testing, and not going to be good car lengths of Max Verstappen. A bit more incentive as well, because he's got the gravel, didn't go down the escape road, and it's a cheers in a moment when they see their man.
And that has released Piastri.
Verstappen, who is still hunting to try McLaren 1-2, and Piastri.
The first part of the year to McLaren.
Look, from Max Verstappen's perspective, it was water in the curb. Looked like gravel.
You normally do the inside tyre rotating, and a tyre has to rotate before he spun off.
Noted for a safety car in front. We'll keep you posted, Karun Chandon.
In terms of with the rain coming down, because McLaren have just said it's out and wait in case we go to slicks.
Because the rain should have gone away and then they first.
I think we're about to find out with Max. A carbon copy. It was his second. The same thing for a second.
Max, we're expecting the weather to start.
These tyres are worn out. If I dropped 4 seconds a little bit in this phase.
An infringement behind the safety car. We more than 10 car lengths behind.
Yeah, so Max did pit now, and he would area. I think he'd clear Lewis Hamilton, the leaders, and 20.
He'd be just ahead of apparently.
But on a fresh set.
I tell you what.
Grass there.
Yeah. Yuki Tsunoda, Fernando Alonso. How are you? Oh, this is his
set is moving towards. It just seems like this for a fact.
Is there a lot going on behind the scenes here? With
You just turns.
Oscar's just turning some very.
But they race.
still, what is your scenario with the weather forecast?
That's what it looks like whenever any rain is coming. So
on the bank with the Australian foot into a headwind about now, and the battle for 9th spot, the taking zone, certainly for this.
Now, I don't know if
this rain will stop in 3 laps. Half behind Lando Norris. Come out, do a lap, and then you do the same thing on these intermediate tyres.
Might almost be even more effective stuff.
Yeah.
As long as you don't take too much life back. Considerably faster than many, doing a fine job up in 4th place there.
Given that he qualified out of position.
understood. We suggest be big.
He's still getting an awful lot closer to it.
You just forget you've even got a gearbox. And when it
Now got past Lance Stroll, he's up into today. Lewis Hamilton scoring points here, same compound of tyre. In his first stint in Albert Park.
stops behind the lead, also just how mighty the McLarens are.
Turn 3, Ted, we can head down to you.
knobs and dials are on his Ferrari steering wheel. Teammate Charles Leclerc, that's how much he always does, and it's giving you Williams of Albon, Crofty. So it's really, I don't know what category is it, 1 or 2.
Moment of the 2 McLarens. Max was Oscar Piastri with some.
Aren't they? Which is why he's nervous early that he could have made.
Lots of conversation. Hamilton having a look, Crofty, around the outside.
But has to yield.
Bull driver twice, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Is there a leakage? A leak must be the water.
Back on Lewis. Suggestions about when do you. Clearly, the way the Ricardo Adami, the amount of information Lewis is used to having.
To run a race. Too long I've been waiting for these. Oscar Piastri, and I wondered if Oscar was he's edging towards Land ever faster.
He's getting and then he'll find some pace towards a pit stop with him again. Piastri went past him.
He'll dominate this season and switch to 20 doors. A long way to go as yet.
Every type of condition, and I think that's
Alex Albon's Williams maxed on that pit wall than Andreas Stella and women to deliver.
tell you what I was jealous.
I'm looking across at the feeling that they feel they're not. I think what GP is doing is looking out at. Surely they've just got a box Max here, as you're saying, holding off Russell. I think Red Bull are going to pit Verstappen quite soon.
Quickly pull 19 seconds back. Radioing in saying his tyres are good. There's young Hadjar.
Isaac Hadjar corner on the formation lap, and Carlos Sainz from what happened. Sainz at the.
To avoid the denied.
Just leave me to over the DRS.
His job, and Lewis Hamilton said looks fine.
It sounded quite important information to me, but had to become a spec. Piastri, what they know is a championship available this year. That it's going to be super intense.
Really start to warm up as this race of coolant liquid to Lando Norris. This is a mass Man United in the Premier League slot plus the Players' Championship. The Masters finally takes on an Australian lead in the Australian Grand Prix.
Through the back markers, which helped him a lot.
Fastest man on 2, Esteban Ocon. DRS there for Oscar kilometers an hour of extra pace in.
Of DRS down into turn 3.
Because there's a race on here. It's his home.
It's going to be a season-long problem for McLaren because they're so well matched. There's a few races at least.
Lap 30.
Hold position, please. Hold position.
Gone.
Faster, but okay.
Here, Liam Lawson's quite a further back.
And
Piastri gets double dose of DRS. Well, that turns into looking for the slightly... it won't rain again. We're starting 100 metres or so here and there. That we
line, then you could have home.
Yeah, and with that, with a 16-second 2 cars out there, Norris will know that he'll get first service if he stays.
I know it's difficult.
I'm not close enough.
I wonder.
Yeah.
I assume it is. The two McLarens passing that. Maybe you've got the answers.
I'm here.
Excellent.
Sorry, just making
Hold that position 4, or are they back 3 on it, sir, coming your way after this race?
Yeah, that's what we're trying to make. Point time to go racing, and we'll see how. I don't think we can tell.
It's just had an issue, had a little going though, Zach. But he's...
Good job.
Thanks ever so much, Zach. Hungary in 2020, if they can hold this position away to start the season out of this race, that Red Bull is now
over last place. Yeah, negated a lot of that.
Haas really struggling. His teammate Nico Hulkenberg separated. Mate Lance Stroll in between these two. Ted, down to you.
Just a quick sometimes per lap, slower than Max.
Bonzo spinning round, turn 7, and that's going to...
Clicks on, that's a tough decision. Yes.
Yeah, hard tyres.
The easier to warn out of the race. Hard tyres saves you 10 seconds.
Right, coming in, Ted, down to you. Box, they're saying to Lando Norris.
Alex could be the break that Hamilton needs
in the track, but if everybody pits.
Albon, that Oscar Piastri, who is serviced both cars, has very Norris down as he...
Slow down like that if they start gapping. But
slowing on the track, let's just have a look. Medium tyres going interesting. Which might warm up just that little bit quick. For instance, is the soft compound tyre.
Yeah, Red Bull and just a warm up on those tyres.
Yeah.
I'll cruise up to the gearbox.
We certainly do. We use this analogy.
Yeah.
Still warm. To survive the start, and if the most experienced conditions tricky.
Yeah, it's see a shunt like that at that phase, to be honest.
At a point in front of a group of, they're being allowed to go all the way around, are able to just go a bit more and get a blick crofty. The leaders at turn...
Put it this way, it's going to take a while for them all to 5 and 6 and got on the curve.
All as hard as I thought he might crash there, you know, because he wasn't off the track.
Who had that moment when he got... Doesn't take much, does it?
Something in there, the curve.
Right, we lose. Stacking. And no... This is Gab. So to be released because there was a car. Uber of Aston Martin became team principal. The chief track. And that accident has...
There is a very small 750. Wow. Doesn't look like there's much.
The field to bunch up a little. Lando's car's facing the wrong way. I was just thinking...
Vehicles on racetracks. Very few over there in front of Lando.
It certainly is. Now,
there may be one lap of race, class 2 to 3.
Class 2.
And confident on the...
Yeah.
Right, class...
That'd be chaos if that lot comes across.
The same, driving alongside a lorry.
Yeah, because the chance of picking up... He did the right thing to stay on the racetrack, but you don't normally follow the safety car.
We're on a box before it's...
That's it. Whether it's skirting around us or not.
We'll anticipate it, and we'll handle it, than it is a track that's...
See, I think Crofty out of your commentary box window. But, I don't know whether that's the one they were talking about. Otherwise, P9 now unchallenged, taken by Kimi Anton those seasons.
I said earlier.
Haas stayed into those 2 laps of rain calm, Norris. So that track right now is quite dry.
Yeah.
If it doesn't rain in a couple of laps, they would be quicker than...
Made up a lot of places. Because these laps behind the safety car...
No confidence in the forecast, isn't it? We're on the right tyre at the right...
If you're Haas, you're right at... Just to our left... In the water, put it that way. There's been lorries without any warning at all. So let's get red flag. We had 3 of them, didn't we, here? We haven't here because...
so they'll let those...
Well, that's already big.
So they should let the lap cars through.
Candok, what are you looking at?
Angle of race control of the commentary box. The circuit, and might only be... I think it's going to hit first, so let's keep an eye on.
Just coming up to 5:30 in the 2025 Formula 1. Doing once we got racing, we lost Fernando Alonso.
Over the track. If it does, so then it's better to go for the Inter now.
Letting lap cars overtake the safety.
Yeah, with it.
I'm with you. A restart, and now another one coming.
That all behind you. That's
last that long. He's got his teammate Oscar behind the safety car, and then he's got the
speed, and he got off the brakes very quickly.
Liam Lawson. What are they doing down at Haas? Ollie Bing. The rain is going to be heavy enough, and Ollie Behrman, who's unlapped himself. Yeah, see?
If you were a lap car at a certain, be massively underwhelmed by that.
The top three, and the whole reason we have this rule.
I know, but he lapped themselves. Has that.
Yeah, Red Bull, and he is unlapping. Really want to see for Vettel. And it used to be I've been commentating.
So what was Behrman? He was, I'd imagine, race director got on the blower.
Piastri, Verstappen. Verstappen got pump up quicker than the hard compound. Lando Norris has done very well. George Russell and Charles Leclerc. Yuki for Mercedes, who's up into the points.
Rain expected.
This is
Radar. But we'll have to wait for it.
building a little bit of a gap for very challenging for the drivers.
Behind the Racing Bulls, George Russell is way back, holding off Gasly, holding off
Baron have got the problem with two cars
now enabled. So when they go through Oscar Piastri, Albon on Gasly in the Alpine, a lot of pressure from a very far.
Seems like it'll be next lap now.
Power in the world, and Zach Brown's turn to the up.
And the wind has really picked up in the way Martin. Intense enough to red flag,
and it's going to make the words.
5 second time penalty. Goes over the line behind him. Chase Leclerc has had a moment in towards turn 3 as Tsunoda to see if he can pounce and take
On dry tyres, it will be heavier.
well. Then they might just have as ago as Tsunoda under pressure once again at turn 10, out in front, coming a mile off and going into the grass. Verstappen is treacherously wet. Verstappen now leads as Lando Norris out.
Piastri is on the underfloor.
He's reversing. He's done exactly what you. He's gingerly going backwards. Leads this race. Happy it is. The rain was cut. Oscar Piastri will get a huge. Race has been ruined.
Just keep going, but unfortunately for Norris, he's out behind Verstappen's Tiada.
Well, that's the gamble. Immediate's on, and he's back out in the rage. Piastri comes out. He's leading this race. Is now
Okay, so he's got to
stay out. Ted Kravitz
for Max Verstappen. It's chucking it down.
feeds back in. Will he be ahead of?
will move into the lead. On intermediate goes through. So George Russell in the who's up in the top 9. Lawson's now
Leading the race.
Yes.
Lawson at turn 2, standstill. Lance, he's now right behind his teammate. I was going to say, could he make a change out and taking the gamble? Well,
they're going to
need to pit behind the safety car.
Both went off the road. Lando's, and this is the bit where he tried to just a different angle.
Just too wet. We're racing, and that is how Verstappen takes over in second. Russell back.
It's a horrible loss because this has not worked for Ferrari in this part.
On these tyres, but once you've taken the gap,
but they just, I don't think, place. Kimi Antonelli.
Yeah, and it was. Lando Norris still leads drivers at the home Grand Prix.
It's to the end of the race.
We certainly have. He is here. He's up to 6th.
Yeah, it's the same look. And anti-lock that brake and send him off. That's exactly what happened.
Very nearly collected Nico Hülkenberg. Leto, and we've lost Lawson. Sainz also out. Tsunoda going off. That was the lap before he came in.
Actually, at the moment, the two Ferrari, they've got Tsunoda.
Much. Just missed a big opportunity.
And if it is to make it even worse, if they could have just 50 car, they.
Well, we're seeing a replay of it, were we? And then same
thing.
Yeah, but
tried to stick it out, and then
I know that's treacherous, yeah. And I know tyres then getting past Leclerc.
Track, haven't you?
Yeah.
Because you go slower and straight off the road.
You're going to be behind the safety. Isn't lasting long has moved away. I know
it wasn't worth the gamble, I don't think.
Yeah,
horrific.
And then compounded it. Selling out of this. Leclerc's down in 10th. Norris, the thing this time, there's no moment. Alex Albon currently 4th, he said. Nico Hülkenberg were necessarily going to be theirs. I think it's going to be intermediate tyres way around the track.
They won't pit now. You wouldn't want to now. But might still do that yet. But the
this excursion into the gravel, Lando Norris 1-2 coming, but it's to wait for another day, and that's how Charles Leclerc.
I don't know.
Right, so here is now on the lead lap.
Here we go. 6 lap shoot.
They'll come back 5-second penalty for out of this race. On Kimi Antonelli, I think he's very much enjoying himself. Russell, so as Bert Mylander scamper as close as he can, and I would imagine exactly what he has done. Racing to the checkered flag.
Norris has been very good on George Russell, fancying a look at the back.
Passed on Esteban Ocon, Verstappen.
Yeah, intermediates. Not different slick.
Piastri was past Ocon. Ocon's return 10. It's Norris.
Do you have to give the place back?
Ah, right. Thank you for again getting a bit compromised going into turn as he moved past and up into.
But it's back on.
Just thinking the they haven't.
Try to see it next lap, actually.
Now he gave the place back. He's up into 11th, but his Ferrari teammate right track. Still a bit of spray coming up. He's separated by only inches, as just has to collect it a bit on the exit.
To keep those tyres a little bit, quite a magnificent job.
And just to make matters even more, at some point on their... oh, there goes Gasly, and out, down towards turn 3.
Antonelli is getting pretty feisty behind, but we were watching the Ferraris getting...
way through that fast section. 15 of them in the bag before the rain came. Head just at the apex, Gasly is stables. So next...
just keeping it neat and tidy through 9 World Championship points at the moment.
And from Max Verstappen, turn 2. What a second opportunity to try and make on the tail of Pierre Gasly. At least is going to pick up a point today, but
the fastest lap that nobody's going to beat from here on.
Trip onto the grass and through the puddles. His teammate crashed. That is all. It's been a day of learning. It's there for him. DRS on Lando Norris here.
Yes.
And this is a battle is on to be the big championship. A bit of an uphill task to try and get. Verstappen's been on his tail. Verstappen sliding his way through
in these last couple of laps.
Into 9 and 10, but he's got DRS his way steadily towards. Meanwhile, Kimi Antonelli from 4th, his debut day. And want to cope with everything that the rain and the track. 2 cars out in front.
Turn 1 and 2 dropped him away. You're fast enough anyway.
A lot last year. I know what I needed of leading a race, and so far it's looking so. Verstappen is there, and he has turned 11. Norris in the lead. That's going to cost him at least one. Lando Norris, 1 in 2025 from second. What a thrilling ride, Nelly. Antonelli picks up a really handy 6th place. Gambled, and it didn't pay off in the ahead of Lewis Hamilton in 10.
Drives from Lando Norris, the challenging conditions, the restarts.
P1, great job. Handled. Congrats, amazing way to start the year, thank you.
That was a brilliant drive, and it could so easily. We kept it.
Yeah, he didn't go as far. He passed Lewis Hamilton around the outrest, ducks to the right, looking that.
What a race. And what a break. I mean, the rain wrecked a few races.
4th on the road, and that 5-second penalty, still a tremendous drive from Antonelli about on the grid. In for 7.
Well, quite. We didn't mention George right at the end, and that is George Russell on the road. Finished 3rd, of course, here. And he only got 20% of the vote, those that voted in it.